This here image I stared at for days and days once it was released in the developer briefing, trying to find out what little clues were in this here screenshot that might give away what Hazard Zone was about. What is it about? I zoomed into the aircraft carrier, zoomed into the little bird, zoomed into the players' outfits, zoomed into the boat that's way in the distance, trying to work out anything. Days and days I spent at this, looking at this. Couldn't find nothing. Was sure there's nothing in this that gives this away, and I thought yesterday, that's me done with that. What is that, Mark? What is that right there? It's all nice and shiny and bright. Why did I not pay any attention to that? It seems like no creators, no one did. What is it? Well, it took for another creator, Critical Chris, to even draw our attention to it on Twitter. He mentioned, not sure if this has been mentioned, probably has. No, it hasn't. I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere. But to everyone wondering what Hazard Zone might be and what it entails, could that light in the sky, left image, be a falling satellite? Perhaps linked to the Kessler effect in 2040? It makes perfect sense now. I don't know how no one's seen it before now. It's so obvious right now that you know that's what you should be looking at. We have to go back and look at some of the backstory. I did do an entire video on it, it's linked above, but here's the quick version. In space, there was an event that caused all the satellites to start hitting off each other, colliding with each other, which caused more debris in space, so they then knocked into more satellites. In the end, 70% of all satellites orbiting Earth were destroyed. And of course, that knocked out communications, anything that involves satellites, which is nearly most electronics and whatnot that we use for getting around the world, all that type of stuff. So that's why we get all this kind of glitchiness in game. That's why we get all that, why we got all those greenish type teasers, all those glitchy type teasers. It was a result of the Kessler effect. So what is Hazard Zone going to be about? It looks like these satellites are falling down to Earth. They could be landing anywhere. They could, a Russian satellite could be landing on US soil. So, of course, the Russians don't want the US having their intel, their technology. They don't want them. So, as a result, teams are put together, 4-man squads. They go into this hazard zone and try and retrieve the intel. DICE described this game mode as a high-stakes, squad-based type game. And other statements they make about the specialist, you know, your friend's choosing this specialist, your friend's choosing this gadget. Well, you should be considering what you should do based on that, which makes me think you should be choosing something different because, you know, you want things to be able to counteract what potentially happens in there as well as the other players. Because Hazard Zone, fallen satellite, there could be things like EMPs, there could be things that mess up, you know, your gadgets. For example, in game, we've already seen your HUD can mess up whenever some of the Levolution events start happening. It could be those type of things are happening to you in there. Certain gadgets that you may choose may be useless. For example, let's say you're Boris with the Sentry system, which locks onto targets and whatnot. You know, it's electronic. It can be rendered useless by likes of a recon drone, which gives an EMP. So it's clearly susceptible to EMP and electrical disturbance. So if you take that in there, and one of these events are going on in there, your main gadget, it's not going to work, it's useless. So you're having to think about these things going into there. We've had this a little bit in Battlefield before, and this leads me on to more speculation about where this has come from. In Battlefield 5, it was supposed to have a competitive game mode. Data miners and whatnot released a lot of details to do what kind of archetypes there were going to be. And they were very specialised. Each had their own designated role, and it was very objective based. It was very squad based. It was very tense. You know, sounding familiar? Battlefield 1 Incursions was what it was supposed to be built on. Same kind of deal there as well. Very, very tight-knit squads going after an objective. I feel this Hazard Zone game mode has been built on the bones of that there incursions and field, Battlefield 5 competitive game mode. So I feel this game mode could be a very good competitive game mode for the competitive community out there. I think it would be great. But, and this is going to be a bit controversial, I feel there should be a ranked mode in it. Not only a ranked mode that involves some form of skill-based matchmaking. So to ensure that opponents in the other team, as well as on your team, that's the most important thing to me, players on my team are of equal ability to me and the opposition, because no one wants a level 1 or 0 on your team that's going to be against really good players. You don't want it. Do they even really want it? No, they wouldn't. So having a kind of casual and ranked game mode within this Hazard Zone, to me, would be ideal. But I'm really liking the sound of it. I do think it's only one life. I kind of hope it is, because it's something different in Battlefield. It really then means that you're sticking with your squad, because you're kind of forced to. You know, if a player realises, I've only got one life, if I go way off here by myself, I'm dead. So it kind of forces you to stay with your squad, because they know I've got another 3 players here that can revive me if I go down. That is partly why I think it would make a good competitive game mode also. You've got one life. You're playing against really good players. You've got a really good team yourself. Lots of team play involved. You have to really think about the specialist you choose. You also really have to think about the gadgets you take in. What's more on the edge of your seat type stuff when you're playing than all that, you know? I like the sound of it, folks. Let me know what you think of it now. Could be completely wrong, I'm only speculating, but I believe that it is something to do with these downed satellites. Again, I don't know how I missed it. Look at the colour of it. It's even got the greenish tone tint to it to indicate that it's, it's the glitchiness. It's what's been causing the glitchiness. Like, I don't know. I think I find the stuff that's really, really hard to find, but they're completely obvious. I don't see it. But anyway, thank you for watching, folks. More videos tomorrow. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you again in the next one.